Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. How are you today? George here, your boy, and of course, Inglorious Nerds, your channel. Today we have a very special kind of video, which I guess you will love it. We will talk about top 10 heartbroken companion deaths in video games I have ever played. And I say I have ever played because that is my opinion, without saying that these are the top 10 of gaming history. But anyway, let's don't talk too much, the content will shock you. So grab your drinks, your food, probably your tissues too, as it will make tears in your eyes. Enjoy the video. Number 10. Our video starts with a tragic death in video game history, of course, in a game which was truly loved by all kinds of gamers. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Last of Us is number 10. Last of Us starts with Sarah Miller, who is a tertiary playable character and a supporting character of the game. She was the 12-year-old daughter of Joel, protagonist of the game, before the cordyceps brain infection outbreak. Sarah is first seen waking up in a sofa fighting her dad, Joel, talking to his cell phone. Afterwards, Joel sits by her side, which Sarah surprises him with a gift, a wristwatch, joking that she bought it selling drugs. After watching some TV, Sarah falls asleep and Joel carries her to her bed. For the sad story, after some hours, Sarah wakes up finding nobody in her house while the world outside is going crazy. Joel is coming terrified to pick her up in order to get away from the city. At the end, as they meet Sarah's uncle while they was escaping from the city, they got themselves trapped while an infected was chasing them. Luckily, a soldier saved them by killing him. Sadly, when the soldier asks about what to do with them, he took order to kill them despite Sarah's presence. The soldier walks up to Joel and prepares to shoot him, but he falls to the ground before he can do it, shot by Tommy, uncle of Sarah. The relief is short-lived as Sarah starts crying. Sarah was shot in the abdomen. She claps her father, Joel, trying to stem the bleeding, to no avail, and she dies in his arms. At last, the loss of Sarah had an adverse effect to Joel as he is unable to move on from her death, even 20 years later, that he doesn't even speak of his daughter to anyone if he can help it, and he still wears the watch she gave him despite it was broken over the years. Number 9. I'm sorry, Captain, I did it for the BSAA, for the future. This sentence hits different. PIERS NIVANS was a soldier in the BSAA and UN-controlled military devoted to destroying bioterrorism. NIVANS, throughout his career, served under Captain Chris Redfield, a loved character of the series whose high security rating allowed them to take part in missions outside of North America. PIERS NIVANS was killed when a research complex self-destructed. Chris and PIERS, while was on the underwater research, began their search for the missing persons. Once they found Miller and Berking, all four together discovered that Carla was about to create an enormous beast resembling a squid and a human. When Chris and Nivans, who separated from the others, made their way to the top of the complex in order to attack the beast. Sadly, Creature's surprise attack in a chamber left Nivans' right arm completely destroyed. While they moved to the C-Virus vial, Nivans decided to do something unusual. He infected himself with the virus. He developed a trident-like appending and the capability of releasing quantities of bioelectricity through the prongs. After the duo defeated the beast, both of them rushed to escape. Of course, Nivans rejected to follow his captain, pushing him into the sphere. Nivans sealed the door and chose his death while he was still able to think about himself, despite Chris' protest. Before Nivans died, suddenly the beast was still alive, attacking Chris' escape pod. Immediately afterward, the creature was hit by an electrical discharge, similar to the one that Nivans created, suggesting that he saved Chris' life. Number 8. Keep your head clear and don't play the hero. Stay alive, little brother. In number 8, we have IDRISSA from Battlefield 5. IDRISSA is a supporting character of the single-player war story in Tirallair. He's a member of the Senegalese colonial forces under the command of the Free French forces. He and his company fight to liberate southern France in the fall of 1944. The story of IDRISSA's death starts in the battle at the Flag Battery, as Dim is glad to see that IDRISSA survived, telling him he knew he would make it. However, the attack costs them a lot of men and he is afraid that they will be eliminated by the German counterattack. He has a bad breakdown as he thinks about his wife and his children. Then, Dim comes to relax him, saying that with his unorthodox plan, they can bypass the German front line and attacks their headquarters. Although, sadly, the attack turns into a huge disaster as most of the remaining Tirallaires are killed by the awaiting Germans and Dim was injured by an exploding shell. IDRISSA drags him immediately to the safety. Cornered by a Tiger tank, IDRISSA sees no other way but to sacrifice himself to protect his friend. He climbs up the tank, throwing a grenade inside and holding the hatch shut. The explosion wounds IDRISSA as he dies in Dim's arms some minutes later. Number 7. Of course, Assassin's Creed series couldn't be missing by this video, as while we were playing the series we met a lot of sad moments and deaths in it. One of the most tragic deaths was in the Assassin's Creed Odyssey when Phoebe was murdered by the Cult of Cosmos. But let's take it from the start. Phoebe was an Athenian girl and project of the Spartan Misthios during the early Peloponnesian War. She was born in Athens sometime in 443 BC and left the polis when she was still a baby. After she had her parents dead, she found herself in the island of Kefalonia, with only a wooden eagle she had named Kara to remind her of her mother. The sad story starts when, knowing that our Misthios character would not return to Kefalonia anymore, Phoebe made the decision to leave the island. She traveled to Athens and found many children there, similar to her, forming a kind of a gang, until one day they met Aspasia, a hetera and a companion of Pericles, the leader of Athens. Phoebe now was working for Aspasia, surprising our character Misthios. Of course, working for Aspasia, Phoebe is helping you to complete a lot of tasks, including with her goal of dismantling the cult and finding her family. In 429 BC, when we as Misthios returns in Athens, we find the city in a completely chaos, while at the same time Phoebe was running a task for Aspasia. Sadly, during the chaos, Cult of Cosmos cornered Phoebe in the Odeon of Pericles and killed her. After our Misthios finds our little Phoebe at her last times, giving her last rites and returning Kara to her. Of course, after that, Misthios is attaching Phoebe's killers, leaving none of them alive. At last, before departing from Athens, Misthios asked Socrates and Hippocrates, giving to Phoebe a proper funeral. She was buried in a cemetery outside in Athens. Number 6. A loyal friend. This time we have a different type of companion, as in Ghost of Tsushima our main protagonist Jin Sakai was forced to say goodbye to his loved horse, which was at his side in a huge part of the game. Jin's horse is his primary companion and a good and fast method to travel around the world, the island of Tsushima. He's a trusty partner for the entire journey. We first meet the horse at the beginning of the game, when Jin is given the option to pick a horse and then given the choice to name it. Who could imagine that this love friendship would come to an end after almost the whole journey of Jin? Jin's Sakai horse dies in a mission, while Jin had to escape from Lord Shimura camp. After a big chase, Jin's horse dies from exhaustion and its goods. Of course, Jin's love for his horse couldn't let it just like that and gives to his companion a war funeral while he buried him in the place he died. Number 5. There are men who struggle against destiny and yet achieve only an early grave. There are men who flee destiny only to have it swallow them whole. And there are men who embrace destiny and do not show their fear. These are the ones that change the world forever. Yes, in number 5 we have Hawk from Dragon Age. Hawk is a player-controlled protagonist in Dragon Age 2 and a supporting role in Dragon Age Inquisition, in which we find his death too. Although his death is not necessary, as you, as the main character, you have to choose who is going to stay behind to fight until death, between Hawk and Stroud, while all three were trapped by a huge spider. Of course, as George decided to choose him from the dialogues both of them had, Hawk and Stroud, as in the start. Stroud wanted to stay, but Hawk reminded him that he had to rebuild the Grey Wardens again. The mission continues with Hawk yelling that Corypheus is mine, showing him attacking the huge spider, so Inquisitor, your main character, and Stroud had the time to escape from it. That showed the bravery he had, but the most I liked was that he wanted to sacrifice his life for the many. And when I say many, I mean the rebuild of Grey Wardens, a team which was mentally captured by Corypheus. Number 4. Don't cry, sweet pea. I will always be with you in your heart. Here we will see one of the most sad deaths in video games, as Lee Everett, one of our main protagonists, is dead while was attacked by a walker. Of course, the Walking Dead series had a lot of sad deaths, but I guess this was one of the worst, as Clementine had started to finding a new dad in this destroyed world, while she will be forced to say goodbye to him too. Lee Everett is a main character and one of the 9 protagonists in Walking Dead, a different turn of events. Lee's sad moment was when Roger kidnapped Clementine and dropped Clementine's radio outside the house. By doing that, he caused Lee to bend down to pick it up, getting bitten by a walker on the arm. After some events, the two initially managed to wade through the walkers outside the street. Clementine sees a zombified Ed and a zombified Diana walking the streets. Lee tries to calm the little girl, but passes out once more. Clementine shows her bravery, helping him to reach a jewelry store. Lee is now beaten and he is waiting for his death. He instructs her to restrain the security guard before she attempts to take his gun. The walker attacks her. Of course, once again, Lee helps her to kill him, and with a gun and tears in her little face, he begs him not to turn in one of them. Of course, it is too late, as in a while Lee will be nothing more than a living body with a dead soul. Lee gives her the helpful advice to shoot him, as he doesn't want her to see him turning, because Lee is like a father to her. He's telling her that he will miss her and he will be always by her side. They give each other final goodbyes, and Lee, with a great amount of sadness, tells her to shoot him. What a scene we just saw. Number 3. Place is filled with living casualties of the last war, which I swear I thought we had won, but I guess it's all a day at races. You back the losing horse and this is where you end up. In number 3 we have Modern Warfare 3. Yes, of course, death of Soap is in our video, as Soap was a loved character and his death made a lot of people cry. Captain John Soap McTavish was one of the protagonists of the Modern Warfare franchise and also appears in Call of Duty Heroes. Of course, he's the main character in Modern Warfare 4 as a Special Forces soldier, and in Modern Warfare 3 a captain in Field Commander of Task Force. As we are playing the game Modern Warfare 3, we found Soap in a mission alongside with Yuri, waiting in a huge building across Makarov's meeting. After some minutes, sniping over the meeting, unfortunately Yuri and Soap was attacked by an explosion of one bomb that Makarov had placed in that building, injuring Soap. Immediately, Price and Yuri rush Soap to a nearby resistance safe house after a huge chase by Makarov's men in the streets of the city. As they lay Soap in the bed, seconds before he dies from his wounds, letting Price know that Makarov knows Yuri with a very specific phrase. Price couldn't handle this moment, as his best friend was dead. After being in a brief denial of Soap's death, Price stands still for a moment, then plays the M1911 pistol used to kill Imran Zakaev in 2011 that Soap had given, returned to him in a few months earlier on his chest, and takes his journal from one of Soap's pouches. Of course, Price, as they try to escape with Yuri, he punches Yuri in the face, demanding he reveal how Makarov knows him. Yuri elaborates that once he was Makarov's friend, but he was betrayed. Number 2. Ghost. Can't get over the name though. What the hell kind of name is Ghost? Oh yes, Ghost is in our list. Of course, Lieutenant Simon Ghost Riley was one of the most loved protagonists in video game history. He was a British Special Forces soldier and a member of Task Force 141, known for his iconic but weird skull-patterned balaclava, headset and of course the dark sunglasses. Using resources from his black tank, Shepard was about to attack the lost 2 safe havens for Makarov and his men at a place called Georgian-Russian border and an airplane boneyard in Afghanistan. Ghost knew that they had to be in 2 different places at the same time, so he and Rhodes, alongside with a bunch of soldiers of Task Force 141, decided to attack one of the haven while Soap and Price was attacking the boneyard. For the sad story, after raiding the safe house, they realized that Makarov wasn't there, though the safe house was loaded, a bloody gold mine, as Ghost said within there. Ghost side-by-side Rhodes, Ozone and Scarecrow, with Archer and Toad supporting them as snipers, protected a DSM from Makarov's men while they were downloading information about Makarov's operation. When the download was complete, Ghost and Rhodes headed to LZ as Ozone and Scarecrow was sadly dead by enemy mortars. Rhodes got injured and now Ghost had to carry him. After a big chase from Makarov's men, Ghost and Rhodes finally reached to the LC, but both were ultimately betrayed by Shepard, killing them with his 44 Magnum. After Shepard took the DSM with the information, Ghost and Rhodes' bodies were thrown away. That was a loose end. Number 1. You are a child of both Egypt and Greece. You are a proof they don't hate each other. Ah, KHEMU, a death that made me cry a lot in the Assassin's Creed franchise. As I said in previous videos, I am a huge fan of the franchise and this death was a big hit when I was playing Assassin's Creed Origins. KHEMU was the Egyptian son of Bayek, the Magi of Siwa, and his wife Aya. His father taught him in the ways of the Magi and in vital skills in hunting. One day, Bayek was outside with his son trying to teach him how he's going to be a Magi and try to beat his fears. All that was required was to take the famous leap of faith, and KHEMU would forever conquer his fears. Of course, he was very scared and failed several times, and before he could finally do it, they heard Kenjira screams, friends of KHEMU. Kenjira was captured by the Order of the Ancients, as they wanted to force him to lead them to the Magi Bayek. Bayek, recognizing the danger, commanded his son to run back to his mother at home. Unfortunately, when Bayek went to confront the Order of the Ancients, he realized that they had captured KHEMU too. They wanted to force Bayek to unlock the Siwa vault under the Temple of Amun for them. After a big dialogue and refusing to it, KHEMU was killed by Flavius Metellus, one among the Order, who redirected Bayek's knife into his son's heart. KHEMU became a vital mark in the history, as that led to the foundation of the Assassin's Brotherhood, as his parents mercilessly handed down each and every last member of the Order. Oh my god, I don't know about you, but this video had me a lot of emotions. Even though I have played all of these games, these death scenes will be always tough to watch. If any one of you hadn't played any of these games, I would definitely suggest you to do it. I really liked all of them. Even the content was sad today. I really hoped you guys enjoyed and didn't cry a lot. If you did, please leave a like so many people can see this, subscribe to our YouTube channel if you are not an Inglorious nerd, and of course comment down below. Tell us which was your favorite game of these or the biggest sacrifice of the protagonist. Unfortunately, we say goodbye, but not for long. We will meet soon again in the next video. Until then, stay safe, stay strong, and keep your smile up. See you soon!